Good evening, all. So before I start, can anyone please confirm whether my voice is clear?
Yes, it is clear.
Fine. So in the today's session, just I was briefing you about the demo session, right? Azure Data Engineering products. So Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Synapse Analytics, Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, Azure Cosmos DB, Azure Streaming, Azure Key Vault. So Azure SQL, it's a cloud RDBMS database. It's a cloud RDBMS database for Microsoft in Azure for OLTP operations. Or it captures end user transactions. It is not for data warehouse. Azure Data Lake, distributed file system with unlimited data storage in the cloud. With unlimited data storage in the cloud. It is a file system, right? So here in HDFS for on-premises database, that is HDFS. But Azure Data Lake, Cloud DFS, it's a Cloud DFS. It is a repository of large varieties of structured, unstructured, and semi-structured data. Every cloud data lake provides benefits. Every cloud data lake is going to provide benefits. What are the benefits? Right? Unlimited data storage, supports all varieties of data, supports all the varieties of data, like structured data, semi-structured, unstructured data. Supports all formats of data like .txt, .csv, .tar, .zip, and .gzip, right? Yes. So generally, if it is a files, we cannot maintain a relationship between the files. If they are tables will have relationship between the tables. So I'm expecting a cloud RDBMS, that too for data warehouse, that too I'm expecting a parallel processing, that is nothing but Azure Synapse Analytics. Okay, Azure Synapse. So it's a cloud RDBMS. It is also for RDBMS, but this is for data warehouse, for analytics, for batch processing, and for parallel processing. So we have a database here. We have a database called Azure Synapse SQL Pool DB. Synapse DB. What is Synapse DB? Cloud Data Warehouse of Azure. When to go for Azure Data Lake and when to go for Azure Synapse, right? Both are in the place of data warehouse. Both are in the place of data warehouse, right? Yes. When to go for Azure Synapse? If data is structured. If data is structured. If data is unstructured, go for Data Lake. Azure Data Factory, right? So if you're taking OLTP systems at one side, data warehouse at one side, right? So where this ADF, not within the OLTP systems, not within the data warehouse systems, between those two as an integration service, we see ADF, right? ADF doesn't come in OLTP systems. It won't be within the data warehouse. It is an integration service between these two, OLTP and data warehouse. It is acts as an integration service between these OLTP systems and warehouse system. So simply saying, right, data ADF, it is a cloud-based ETL. It is a cloud ETL or cloud-based ETL of Microsoft in Azure cloud platform, right? All transactions are captured at OLTP systems. How to bring these transactions into warehouse systems? We have ETL. We have ETL tools like Informatica, Data Stage Talent. All these are on-premise ETL tools. But I need a ETL on the cloud. I need a ETL on cloud, that is ADF. Using ADF, we can connect with cloud databases, non-cloud databases, NoSQL databases. ADF is going to extract data and pump the data into this target systems, right? ETL, here it is ETL, but our working style is ELT. Extract, load, transform. ETL for small volumes of data. ELT for huge volumes of data. So ADF is a zero coding ETL tool, right? It is a zero coding ETL tool, right? Next is, okay, I was talking about this Azure SQL, Azure Synapse, Data Lake, Azure Data Factory. Next, Databricks. What is, it is a fast Apache Spark based data analytics platform, ADB. It brings together the data science, data engineering, and business together. What is, first forget about this Azure Databricks. First, what is normal Databricks? Nice. It is a fast, okay. Azure Databricks, one second. What is normal Databricks? What is Databricks? Provides a Spark cluster, provides a Spark cluster in the cloud. What is Databricks? Provides Spark cluster in the cloud. What is Spark? It is a very fast. I can say it is an execution model. It is an execution model for fast processing, for fast to process huge data or big data, to process big data at a very high rate of speed, at a very high rate of speed. It is execution model to process big data at a very high rate of speed. Generally, the Spark features, Spark features. Spark, Apache Spark, we say, in-memory computation. In-memory computation, right? Storing within this, storing and processing both happens within the memory level, within the RAM level. Storing and processing both. That's why we call it as in-memory computation, and supports MPP, supports MPP. Massive parallel process. What is that? Supports MPP, means massive parallel process. and it is Spark is lazy evaluated. Lazy evaluated. On demand, lazy evaluated means whenever we perform action, on demand executing the data flow. On demand executing the data flow. Spark is 100 times faster. Spark is 100 times faster than normal. This 100 times faster than normal disk processing. Normal disk processing. So there was many tests done, right? There was many tests done, right? Or not only on Spark. See here. If we compare the speed of Spark and other technologies, right? Yes. Yahoo has conducted a test. Yahoo has conducted a test to check the speed of different databases. It has conducted a test by taking a table of 100 TB consisting of 1024 columns. The task was sorting based on 16 columns. Sorting based on 16 columns. So the time taken by different rate, time taken, right? By different things, right? First, Oracle. Time taken to process this task based of Oracle has taken nearly 3.5 days to has taken nearly 3.5 days to process. MySQL, it has taken nearly 6 days to process. And Teradata, a specialized database used for data warehouse, right? It has just taken 4.5 hours. 4.5 hours. One more database used for data warehouse, Netija. That's just taken 3 hours of time. Hadoop, finally Hadoop. So these have taken days of time. These have taken hours of time. Big data Hadoop, it is a very fast processing technology. It has just taken 4.2 minutes. 4.2 minutes. Finally, see Hadoop 4.2 minutes. Spark is 100 times faster. Spark is 100 times faster than Hadoop. Then see the speed of Spark. Already Hadoop very less time, where these have taken days of time, hours of time. Hadoop has taken minutes of time, but Hadoop has taken minutes. But what will be the speed of Spark? You see, 100 times faster than Hadoop. So generally, Hadoop and Spark combinedly, they'll be used in processing. Yes. Problem with the Spark. Problem with the Spark. Independently, it cannot run. Independently, it cannot run. It requires a cluster. It requires a cluster. It needs a cluster. So Databricks provides that cluster. Databricks provides that cluster. Assume, example, just assume we have 500 nodes. We have 500 nodes. This 500 nodes, this we have 500 nodes. Assume this 500 nodes. 500 nodes means system CPUs. Node means what? CPUs. System. This 500 nodes cluster. See, generally here cluster means a group of nodes connected in a network. What do you mean by a cluster? Say master slave. We see master slave architecture, single master, multiple slaves. Single master, multiple slaves. This we call it as a cluster. Group of nodes connected in a network. This will be the master. This will be the slave nodes. Slave nodes are worker nodes, we say. Generally, your data, for example, your data f1.txt is a file of 2 TB. Here, think that system 1, system 2, system 3, or slave 1, slave 2, slave 3. This each system capacity 1 TB, 1 TB, 1 TB. This 2 TB file cannot be accommodated in any of these slave. So generally, it is divided into smaller parts, and each part will be stored across multiple parts. So what advantage you are going to see? Distributed storage and a parallel processing. If data is distributed across multiple systems, parallelly you can process that with very high rate of speed. If your data is increased, you are going to increase this slaves. If your data is keep on increasing, your slaves also will keep on increasing. So assume we have 500 nodes. It is 500 nodes cluster is worthy processing. Assume 2 TB of data at a time. It is worthy processing 2 TB of data at a time. For example, tomorrow, your data volume increased. Tomorrow, your data volume increased. If same cluster used, speed goes down. Speed goes down. As data volume increased. If same cluster used, speed goes down as data volume increased. So generally what we do? So we need to scale up the cluster. We need to scale up the cluster by adding new nodes. Assume you have 100 new nodes added, 100 nodes added. After 2 months, again 100 nodes added. Again 100 nodes added. Means every time scaling up the physical data center. Every time scaling up the physical data center is a complex task, right? Every time scaling up the physical data center is a complex task. Previously, data volume. Previously, data volume increased by small amount. Previously, data volume increased by small amount. But today, data volume increased by large amount. So that's why what I'm expecting, that's I need the same cluster. I need the same cluster. I need the same cluster in the cloud. In the cloud. And that too with auto scaling, auto scaling capability. That too with auto scaling capability. Who is providing this? Databricks. Who is providing this? Databricks. I need some cluster in the cloud and that too with auto scaling capability. Who is providing this? Databricks. Databricks. Spark Cloud Cluster with auto scaling feature. Databricks Spark Cloud Cluster with auto scaling feature. With auto scaling feature. For example, today my data load requires 100 nodes. It requires 100 nodes. Tomorrow data volume increased. It has to be extended. It has to be extended to 200 automatically. Tomorrow data volume increased. It has to be extended to 200 automatically. After processing is completed, again it has to revert back to 100 nodes. After processing is completed, again it has to revert back to 100 nodes. This is general database. I'm talking about general database. This is general database. It cannot interact. It cannot interact with my Azure storage services. It cannot interact with my Azure storage services. It cannot interact with my Azure storage services. In Azure, the storage services are Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Synapse. Regular Databricks is not compatible. Regular Databricks is not compatible. Regular Databricks is not compatible with all Azure services. A regular Databricks is not compatible with all Azure services. It is not compatible with all Azure services. That's why Microsoft plus Databricks. Microsoft plus Databricks. Collaboratively launched a new product called Azure Databricks. Understand here? Microsoft plus Databricks collaboratively launched a new product called Azure Databricks. Normal Databricks, it's not compatible with all Azure services. So that's why Microsoft Databricks collaboratively launched a new product called Azure Databricks. So Azure Databricks. ADB. I can say it is a Spark cluster. It is a Spark cluster. It is a Spark cluster with auto scaling, and compatible with all the Azure store, with all the Azure data storage services. With auto scaling and compatible with all the Azure data storage services. ADB can read data from data lake, Azure SQL, all this Cosmos DB, Synapse DB. Cosmos DB, right? For normal Databricks, generally for normal Databricks also you can work. For normal Databricks, we need to do lot of other settings. We need to call different APIs. We need to call different APIs. Databricks are not only available for Azure, but also it is available for the other clouds like AWS, Google. In Databricks, who is processing the data? Spark. To execute for that Spark, we need a cluster. That too with auto scaling feature, compatible with all the storage services that is provided by Databricks. So you are a developer to provide, you are a provider, you are a developer, right? You are going to provide some instructions to process the data in the form of coding to perform complex transformation. So here Spark we are implementing by using Python. We say PySpark, PySpark, right? So in most Databricks applications, right, PySpark is the majority of the code. Currently, most of the projects are available in PySpark. Most of the projects are available within the PySpark. So currently, industry is taking two separate developers. Databricks, a separate developer. Azure Data, ADF developer, a separate, right? You can go either like a ADF developer, Databricks developer. Initially, getting into the company, but later you need to have the knowledge on both. We talk about this ADF and ADB. We talk about this Azure Data Factory and Databricks, right? Azure Data Factory, ADF, Azure Databricks. In ADF, we have two versions. In ADF, we have two versions. Two versions. ADF version 1, ADF version 2. In ADF version 2, generally in ADF version 2, we have got the concept called data flows. We have got the concept of data flows used to perform transformations. Different types of transformations, like many transformations like union transformation, exist transformation, pivot transformation, derived column transformation, select transformation, aggregate transformation, right? In this way, different transformations are available. So everything I'm not going to write any code. In the case of this ADF, I'll create these data flows without writing any code, just by drag and drop. Just I do some configurations. When data flows are submitted, when these data flows are submitted, internally the data flows are converted into Databricks jobs. Understand here, this data flows, whenever the data flows are submitted, they are converted into Databricks jobs. Means here we are not going to write any code on Databricks. Here I no need to write any Databricks code. Execution is not done by ADF. Execution is done by Databricks. Yes, right. So every data flow again is going to convert into Databricks job. It's executed by Databricks. Internally, it is going to happen. We don't need to write any code. You may get a query. Okay, when everything is done, okay, when we are writing the code in ADF, internally it is converting into Databricks and executing. Why again separate developer required for Databricks? Why again separate developer required for Databricks means to develop some custom functionalities. To develop some custom functionalities, right, we require Databricks developer. For example, if your 99% of your data is structured, all the structured operations can be done by ADF. If data is unstructured, ADF cannot process. ADF data flows cannot transform the data if data is unstructured. If data is unstructured, right? For example, Such kind of analytics we cannot do by using ADF. If you want to perform some kind of analytics on the unstructured kind of data. So we have got some special libraries. That special libraries directly we cannot define into our data flows of ADF. At that time, I require Databricks developer. So even if I talk about some kind of data which it cannot handle, like graph data, if I talk about this graph data, right? Graph data. Graph data is nothing but a link between that, interlink between the records. Record to record, there will be some interlinks. Such kind of interlinked records we call it as graph data. So different types of graphs like one-way graph, two-way graphs are available. So one-way relationship, two-way relationship. All these okay interconnections are available in one table. Processing this kind of graph data, that too with SQL queries is not possible in ADF. So we need to have some special graph algorithms. At that time, the ADF not help you in designing data flow to perform the transformation. At that time, we require Databricks developer. Who develops the complex logics. That's what there should be some coordination between this ADF and ADB. In ADF, we open a new pipeline. You can open Databricks notebook, whatever. So if data is totally structured, it is totally BI related data. And if you want to analyze the data, you want to perform some different transformations, no need to go for Databricks. ADF data flows can perform. Right? 90% of the operations, everything can be done without going for Databricks, but some complex operation and working with some graph kind of data, working with streaming data, these kind of things, right? So we need to go for Databricks, where we will be writing some code in this PySpark, Spark with Python, right? Yes. So just I was briefing you about this products, right? One second. So Azure SQL for RDBMS, this is for distributed file system. This for data warehouse purpose. This for ETL, that too for cloud ETL. This for Databricks provide Spark cluster for executing this Spark plus Spark execution happening. Cosmos DB, Azure Cosmos DB is a NoSQL database, cloud NoSQL database. Azure streaming for streaming and for real-time analytics and capturing of these high volumes of data streams simultaneously, the two from different sources at a time. Azure Key Vault for protecting your data in the cloud. So this is Azure Data Engineering products, mainly in our ADE course. In the ADE course, our discussion, but first ADF will be discussed, Databricks, Azure Synapse Analytics. And you will be getting the knowledge of about this Azure Data Lake, Azure SQL, Azure Cosmos, other things also. Because as an ADF developer, Databricks developer, as Azure Data Engineer, you are going to interact with all these products. So you'll be getting the knowledge about all this, but mainly these things in brief. First, Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks with PySpark, and Azure Synapse Analytics, right? Yes. Once you can check this course content, right? So what I'm going to discuss as part of this in brief, in depth, it's a lot of exercises. Everything will be practical. Nothing will be theoretical here. Everything, how we are going to design that pipelines, the activities, then the pipelines activities. So within that activities, like how to create a data sets, linked services, integration runtime, and how we are going to submit these pipelines, how this execution happening, data breaks. See this Azure Data Factory, top level concepts like pipelines, activities, linked services, data sets. What are pipelines, linked service, data sets, and working with different types of data. Avro file, binary file, CSV file, Excel file, JSON file, ORC, Parquet, XML, blobs, activities, wait, variables, creating a variable, set variable, append variable, copy data, right? All these things. Triggers, integration runtime, source control, right? All this, right? Data flows. What is data flow mapping, data flow, right? These things. And different exercises, ADF exercises, nearly like 50 exercises will be discussed as part of this, right? And Azure Databricks. So before I go with the Databricks, you'll be given that knowledge. Means the basics of big data, basics of this Spark, basics of this cloud computing, Azure. And coming to this Databricks, creating Databricks workspace, Databricks service using Azure CLI, Databricks service with Azure Resource Manager, adding users and groups, creating cluster from the user interface, displaying clusters, starting cluster, terminating cluster, deleting a cluster, cluster information, cluster logs, cluster access control, types of clusters, all-purpose cluster, job cluster, Databricks pools, with pools, without pools, clusters, standard, clusters mode like standard, high concurrency, single node, auto scaling, Databricks runtimes, multi-user clusters, Databricks utilities, credential utilities, data utility, job utility, library utility, Databricks integration with different blob storage, data lake, SQL database, Synapse and Snowflake, right? Multiple file formats like CSV, JSON, Parquet, Excel, XML, ORC, Avro, historical data load, incremental data load, date transformations, aggregations, joins, window, and union operations by using PySpark, streaming API, process streaming using PySpark API, handling bad records, loading the data into tables, Databricks Lakehouse, Delta Lake. Loading data into tables, Databricks Lakehouse, Delta Lake. Features of Delta Lake, how to create Delta Lake. Handling SCD type 1, SCD type 2, data deduplication. Handling streaming data in Delta Lake. Workflows in Databricks, Azure Synapse. Overview of pools in Synapse. Azure's Synapse Analytics to query data lake. Azure Storage Account, right? Azure Synapse triggers. Azure SQL Database, incremental load, logging and notifications, deep dive into copy activity, total data flows, Spark full introduction in Azure Synapse, right? All this in brief about the Synapse Analytics, Azure Databricks, PySpark, Azure Data Factory, and Azure Data Lake and Azure SQL DB, right? These things. So you'll be getting each and every session recording. So you can play that. It cannot be downloadable. Like soft copy of the class notes, assignments, and tasks to work with. A WhatsApp group will be created, and tomorrow it's the link is going to be changed as said by the DURGASOFT online team. You can see the details in the chart which is pasted there by the online team. The contact details of the online team, if any queries, the course details means the course content and the payment details, the other things, right? So people generally do mistake, right? They get enrolled by paying the fees, but they won't send the screenshot of the payment to that mail ID provided. So you are supposed to send the screenshot of your payment to that mail ID which is provided. You can see there, right? Durgasoft online training at gmail.com. Then only you'll be receiving the link for tomorrow's class, right? So just to get enrolled for this, will be discussed tomorrow onwards. We'll be going with these things, right? So from tomorrow, you'll be getting the videos to your Google Drive, notes to your mail IDs. Tomorrow, you'll be added to that WhatsApp group, right? Yes. Timing of the batch, as I said, for initially for the first 4 5 days of time, it will be at 4 p.m., but later it will be at 5 p.m. It starts at 5 p.m., right? So I'm making it clear before you go with the payments, right?
So, sir,
Yes, go ahead.
currently I'm out of the city, so I cannot pay now. Like I can pay only on Saturday. So while I was in office, like in Amirpet, Durgasoft office. So
Okay, you can just regarding the payments, this thing, you can need to contact with this, the contact details provided, right? So any technical things I can, what? anything related to that financials or that payments, the contact details provided there in the chart, you need to contact them, right? Yes.
And one more thing, sir. So can we cover blob storage and HD insights as well in this course?
Yes, yes, everything. We are going to take the data source, everything from the blob storage data lake, right? Yes, I'll be discussing.
And HD insights?
HD Insights, no, see, just I'll be discussing Hadoop, but see, previously in ADF version 1, it was used a lot, but now we have got, we no need to perform all those things, right? We have got inbuilt functionalities in this version 2. Yes.
So one question, like how long this 4 p.m. actually will continue, and later 5 p.m. in the beginning?
For the next 2 days, it will be.
4 p.m. After that, it's going to be 5 p.m. right?
Yes, yes. I think
Okay.
tomorrow it will be at 4 p.m. Mostly day after tomorrow also it may be, but later it will be into 5 p.m. Next for 2 days.
Okay. So what are the prerequisite like system? We can have the normal system I5. It's fine, right?
The system configuration, anything, but the subscription to the Azure, right? You can have the free subscription, right? You can work with 1 month. It will give 1 month free trial, but actually some services for 1 year, some services for 1 month. But most of this Azure service, whatever we are using the services, right? Like storage systems, all this within 1 month, you can have that. After 1 month, see, generally, if you want to have one more free trial for 1 more month, so the thing is, again, you need to get one more free trial with another, means just you need to provide with a different mail ID, with a different phone number, with a different credit card. Again, you can take one more. Otherwise, you need to go for pay as you go. For the
Oh,
software,
payment means how much it will be minimum?
which one you're talking about, this pay as you go for this.
Yeah.
So depending upon the usage, but it won't take that much of because the services that what we are using depends upon, but it won't that much of that, because for Databricks it may take little bit, but for all the other services depends upon the usage. But
So you will help to understand the cost and all, right?
yes,
Basically.
yes, everything I'll be helping you out, right? So I recommend you to go with that. If you're good practicing everything, you go can either debit card, credit card, all those are accepted. It won't deduct any amount, just it will deduct 2 rupees from your that. You can go with
Okay.
that. You can
Okay.
keep on
Sure.
creating the accounts, right?
Okay. Sure.
Fine. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
How many days we can access the shared video? Means
So
after every class, you will be sharing a video to our emails, right?
yes,
Which is
yes,
not downloadable. So
yes,
how
yes,
many days we can able to
yes, yes.
go?
Actually, DurgaSoft, a separate team where video team is there. They'll be uploading the videos and they will daily they'll forward they will be forwarding the video to your Google Drives. So any course in area and in DurgaSoft, right? 6 months they'll be provided for 6 months access. Later again, if you want to extend, you need to talk to them.
Oh, okay, then.
Okay.
So,
Oh, can we
like,
make,
if you don't mind,
we need to make the full payment in one shot, or we can make it as part two installation?
So actually the main products, right? Uh, ADF, if you are going separately, that ADF, it is of 6,000, Databricks of 6,000, Azure Synapse is for 6,000. But if you're talking total as a package, it is for 12K. Generally, people goes like with ADF separately, Databricks separately, and Synapse separately. But each one 6,666, it will be 18,000 will be. But as a package, we are providing. Apart from that, I'm saying I'll also be giving the knowledge on this data lake, blob storage, Azure SQL, and Cosmos one. Yes. So it's
Okay, so this is for, it will cover DP 209.
yes.
Okay.
Okay.
sir, like, if you don't mind, could you please let us know about yourself?
Small.
Like, about yourself, if you don't mind.
So myself, I'm Vijay. I've got total 20 plus years of experience working on different technologies like big data, Hadoop, PySpark, now into this cloud technologies, right? So I was into the training from the last 15 years, right? Giving trainings on this, especially on this big data technologies, Hadoop, Spark with Scala, PySpark, and this Azure data engineering. Right. Any other queries, right? So if I'm done with your queries, I'm signing off for today. Meet you tomorrow at 4 p.m., but the link will be different, right? So everything in brief, whatever I discuss, 100% everything you will be understanding. So all the sessions will be interactive sessions. Any queries, immediately you can unmute and you can ask the queries then and there itself. And if any queries while practicing, if you are getting any errors, take the snap it and a separate WhatsApp group where you can directly interact with me, the WhatsApp, and you can take the snaps and keep the error of the snaps in the WhatsApp. Anybody can answer. I'll be answering it, right? So, right? Okay.
One last question, sir. Will you provide material by class wise or
Class
it is
wise, class wise, clear notes will be provided.
means you are typing every time when you are explaining? Is that the one or that's a different one?
So
It's-
everything okay about this notes, right? It's not a very clear notes, ADF notes, right? So for different batches, for example, then ADF. So clear notes for all these things, introduction notes. So in this way, clear notes will be getting topic points in brief, in depth, right?
So, is it prefer to interact with you offline in DurgaSoft office, Amirpet or somewhere?
Say, if you want to interact with me, you can contact this DurgaSoft, right? But from tomorrow directly, I am see to interact with the students, right? Directly, I am creating a WhatsApp, not from the Durga. You see, all the courses won't have the WhatsApp group, but whatever my courses I am discussing, right? I'll definitely make a WhatsApp group to have interaction with the students technically, right? If any errors, anything, right? So once they get enrolled tomorrow, a WhatsApp group will be created. But before that, if you want to interact with me, right, as per the norms, you can call to that numbers, right, which is given in the chart. They will arrange a call, like they will arrange a call, right? You can directly interact with me with them, a group call, conference call. But from tomorrow, directly you can interact with me, right? Yes.
So, I'm asking for like offline interaction, like in office or like issue will be available in the DurgaSoft office in Amirpet or some other branch.
See, most of the high-end technologies, everything are online courses in DurgaSoft. Only for Java, only those courses are offline, right? But all the other courses are online, where we'll be taking from different places. Okay. So if anything, you can interact me through phone. Okay. So we'll meet you tomorrow. Yes, everyone try to enroll. You can see the details, everything for any other help by the office team. Okay. Thank you all for your meet you tomorrow. Bye.
Thanks.